Hello, everyone. Hi, how are you? I was not expecting my intro to go that fast. I think I put the wrong one on. In any case, it's good to see you all. Now I can see you with my glasses. How's everyone doing? Nice to see you are already in the chat. Yes, Judy's banana bread party was the best. Now I want to make some banana bread with bourbon or whiskey or whatever in it. Any kind of spirits would be good. She is so creative and fun. Oh, I love Judy so much. And you've watched it a few times. She's the best. Can you guys hear me okay? So much going on in trials this week. Oh my gosh. Tennis Girl might be a few minutes late. Okay, I think I'll wait to chit chat maybe till the end. So it's good to see you, Dave. Judy is too much. I mean, now I've got that Karen Carpenter song stuck in my head. Oh, she's so fun. So where we left off last week, if you're just joining us, there's a playlist in the description of this podcast, of this live stream or podcast, wherever you're listening. And you can catch up, but where we're going to start off is where we left off, and that was with the interrogation of Nick Houck. And so this will be part 2. We didn't quite get through the first 2 hours of his interrogation, but we're going to try and get through that and possibly get to the second interrogation, which was about, I want to say 8 days-ish later. And of course, this was back in 2015, right after Crystal Rogers went missing, shortly after, and before he was fired from his job as a police officer in Bardstown, Kentucky. So we'll get as far as we can tonight, probably go an hour if my throat holds up that long. And I can't wait to get into the second part, but we've got to do it in order. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Anything anyone wants to say before we get started? I'm going to come back. I'm just, excuse me, pulling up the video. And I just want to check the chat. Yeah, he is something else. It has been quite a treat, right? To put it mildly. I don't know how else to say it. To watch this interrogation. The brothers are, oops, I have Brooks, not Nick. Excuse me. We don't want that. The brothers Houck are quite the specimen. Hey, they're quite a lot alike, seeing a lot of similarities between the two, and the family traits, which is always interesting, especially if you're following any crime that involves a family conspiring together. It's really interesting to see that family dynamic play out. So let me go back and get Nick. And it's been 8 years. It's been 8 years, 2015, when this started. And I'm just going to go ahead and share that. 8 years. And he's not arrested yet. Not arrested yet. Which is really frightening. Okay. Oh, and that's not the right one either. It's the one I wanted to do. Sorry, you guys. I should have gotten that together. I know. It's really, I should have gotten this together. Sorry, you guys. I keep grabbing the wrong video. I know what's wrong with me tonight. Okay, stop. Okay. One more time. Here we go. This time for realsy. Okay. Not together at all today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Here we go. This is back in July 15th. She went missing. I believe the last time she was seen was on the 4th of July. So, rhombohedral. Hello. Am I saying it right? Rhombohedral. Did you get your Russian blue? I want to know if you got your Russian blue. Okay, so here we go. This is part 2 for me of the interview with Nick Houck, and is shown right here what the interview date was. I'm going to make it full screen, and then I'm going to slide ahead to where we left off, which was about 5:55 p.m. at that time. Oh, how's the kitty? I want to see pictures. I wish there was a way for you. You can email me pictures or something. Do you have an Instagram? My cat has an Instagram. Every cat should have an Instagram. So if you have pictures or way to share them with us, we want to see your pictures. It'd be great. Oh, I love kittens. Okay. All right. So, and just by way of reminder, this video comes from, I passed it up. It doesn't say. It probably says on the end, but it's the Nelson County Gazette. All right. So let's get on ahead. And we are,
Thursday when they took your cruises.
this is approximately where we left off. So this is where we will go. Yes, we got to figure this out. Only YouTube. I love YouTube. I only spent a small amount of time on other platforms, but most of my time on YouTube. It's definitely become my very favorite place to be. Okay, so here we go. We're going to just cover like a couple minutes of where we left off just for context. Let me know if you can hear or can't hear, so I don't go too far without checking the sound.
I hate to even put a number on it. I mean, I really don't know. 1, 2, 3, 10. How many things? I'm not even put a number on it. I can't.
Can you hear him?
But you know, do you know for a fact it was after they filed a missing persons report that you picked it and linked it
I
up?
don't even know that for a fact.
Well, when did you move the furniture?
I've got a dozen rental properties. I've been moving stuff out of, the garage over there for 2 or 3 weeks now. I've got
the garage where?
104 Glenview Drive.
How long have you been out of 104 Glenview? You said
Did just a few days.
Okay. Was there a certain day you had to be out of there by?
Mm-hmm.
What was that date?
July the... I wish I could give you the exact
Well,
date.
who gave you the date to get out?
The guy that bought it.
Okay, so there's paperwork that shows he takes possession of it on a certain day.
Mm-hmm.
How many days before that did you move that furniture out? We can reference that.
Maybe what furniture got now? Just all my furniture?
Whatever you use the blanket for.
I would say, at least a few days before,
So if you is 2, maybe, is that what you would term that?
That's what I would guesstimate.
Okay, so say you had to be out by July 9th, then a few days before that, or something like that.
It sounds good to me. I mean, I really don't know.
What was the guy's name that bought the property?
Mike Ballard.
And Mike Ballard, is there paperwork on that? Did you go through a realtor?
No, I sold it for sale by owner.
Okay. And did you do a contract or did you do a deed transfer?
Yeah, we did a contract on it.
Okay. Do you have a copy of the contract somewhere?
I do somewhere.
So there'll be some way we can reference
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Did you tell anybody that you were on the evening of the 8th, you were with your girlfriend all night and you didn't go anywhere?
Did I tell somebody I stayed with my girlfriend all night?
That you were home with your girlfriend all night on the evening of July the 8th and didn't go anywhere?
Last Wednesday, no?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
Who have you talked to about this so far? I mean, obviously we're talking right now.
Just the people at the grand jury.
Not
That's
all.
the only other person you've talked to about this investigation
Mhm.
is the grand jurors and us 3 people in this room.
Yeah. Very little with Chief. I mean,
Have you talked about it with your girlfriend?
very little. I mean, like I said, we didn't really hang out with Crystal or anything. So, I mean, I haven't went into any detail with her.
Well, I mean, is she, I know the typical woman is gonna ask 10 million questions around something big that you were. I mean, we're both married, we know how our wives are. What about this? What about this? What about that?
Amber's really not like
I
that.
don't like that. Okay.
Do you talk to any of the other officers here? I mean, y'all are obviously all.
I've been off work. He just put me on paid leave or administrative.
I mean, did he tell you not to talk to anybody about the investigation, or is it just, do you not socialize with a whole lot of people from work outside of work, or?
No, I mean, I don't see a lot of them at work.
I know, with us, the guys that we work with, we're talking on the phone all the time. We're real social with each other. Is that just not the case here?
I haven't talked to anybody about it.
But just in general, I mean, are you social with the guys you work with, like Jason Ellis? Did you talk to him a lot when you worked with him?
Well, yeah, I mean, I talk to all the guys, but I mean, it's not like we hang out on the weekends together or anything like that, so.
But when you're here at work, you talk about
Oh,
stuff.
most definitely.
He's really not answering a lot of questions. They have to ask twice oftentimes. Not sure if he's just being evasive or if he's stressed out and not answering. But just a basic question here, do you socialize with your workmates? We all socialize with each other because obviously, since he didn't answer the question that they asked, they said, do you, and he's like, no, I didn't talk to anybody from work about this. That wasn't what the question was. So he's pretty defensive and evasive in his answers.
Any of the officers or anybody come and approach you and ask you questions about the case? Instead of knowing that you're kind of close to the family.
They haven't asked.
And you haven't talked to your brother about this case?
I haven't. Very little to nothing.
So, I mean, how did the conversation go when he called you and said, I'm on my way up here to the PD to be interviewed?
I can't remember how they stated it. He just said they were going to interview him. And that may have been like his second interview.
Did he seem nervous? Was he scared? Was he asking for advice? Was he confiding in you? Like, what was he?
Brooks, the same old Brooks.
Well, I mean, if you don't talk that much generally and your brother calls you, there's got to be some reason he's calling you.
Yeah, I mean, he calls me from time to time. It's not like we just completely ignore one another, but we don't just hang out all the time.
But if he called you, that day, what did he say?
I had no idea.
I mean, you're the only one that was on the phone line with him that time, right? Just you and him.
So he has no idea what Brooks said to him when Crystal went missing. No idea.
No, there wasn't anybody else. It wasn't a three-way call. It was his phone calling you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't remember anything that was said at all. He didn't say, hey, is there something I should do? Should I wear a nice shirt? Should
Brooks has got common
should I fix my hair? That kind of thing.
Brooks, he's just kind of construction worker. He's come right on in here. I mean, he's not like that.
But I mean, he obviously knows that you know more about police work than what he does.
Well, obviously.
So he's, if you've got a question about how to frame something and it's something he's better at than you, you're going to call him and ask him, right?
Yeah, but Brooks didn't have anything to hide. I mean, he hadn't asked me anything like that. Brooks hadn't changed any.
So he was just saying, hey, if you need to get a hold of me, I'm going to be up here at the PD doing an interview, kind of
more or less.
But then you called him back because you were just worried because you had.
Well, I really wasn't.
Did he say, I'll call you when I'm done? Is that what he said?
No, he didn't say call me when he was done. No, I mean, it's not that I was really worried. I just, like I said, Brooks is a really cooperative person, and with things spinning like they are, I just wanted to be sure that, things were done the right way.
Sure. I mean, I know you made mention of one.
So they're asking him why, let's just put it this way. They're starting to get into the phone call that Nick made to Brooks while Brooks was in his police interrogation. And he just said something that they're not going to react to, but I will. He said, I just wanted to make sure things were being done right. Well, that's not what he said in the call. And that's a little bit insulting too, but it was a little arrogant. I love these tips from Rambo Hedrell. Okay, so let's keep going.
One officer here that you think might not be the most trustworthy person in your words.
Mm-hmm.
But is there anything else that goes on around here? I mean, is the whole department like that, or is it just
I mean, we've got a really good department. I can't knock the department at all.
in the sheriff's department as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of good guys over there.
So, I mean, you obviously had some reservations about something because you called him. It was just that one officer. That's the only reason why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
How did you know that Snow was the one interviewing him, not one of us?
Well, I just assumed that, I guess since he'd been interviewed before, that, I mean, he was the one handling it, so.
I mean, there's other good officers here. What if it was like Kaminsky or somebody else? I mean,
Yeah, I don't think I'd have been that much worried about it.
so you knew that Snow was going to be the one interviewing him because he told you that Snow called him. Is that what you're saying?
I can't even really remember that. He just said he was going to be interviewed, and I guess since Snow had interviewed him before, that I just assumed that he'd be the one doing the interviewing again, so.
Ooh, this is a very interesting question because they're asking, how did you know which investigator or which detective, it was Jon Snow, was going to be interviewing your brother? So now they're asking, did you perhaps look that up or get some information on the side that you really shouldn't? Because ultimately he got fired for interfering with the investigation, and this was part of it. So this is quite interesting. And he's like, oh, I just assumed because this is the third time that it was Jon Snow that would ask him the questions again.
All right, hang tight. Let's go check on something real quick when we are back. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, we need to go over a couple of things. Okay.
Let's a couple of things we want to just touch on here. The 10th, which would have been this past Friday. The day after they came to their car.
Okay.
About 8:30 p.m. that night, Keith Rogers was over at Brooks' house getting some clothes for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Brooks got a call from you, talked for a second, and he hung up the phone and told your mom, hey, we got to go, Brooks, or Nick needs our help. Do you remember what that was about?
I have no idea.
Okay.
So you didn't call him on Friday and ask him for any kind of help?
I don't recall.
Is there anything that happened on Friday? You have water line bust, anything like that you need help with?
No.
You remember him coming over on Friday, just this past Friday, a couple days ago?
I don't.
And you didn't meet with him on that Friday?
I'm not aware of.
Do you remember?
So he's denying that his brother met with him just a couple of days ago. Like, I think it's Wednesday here, so 5 days prior. I don't remember that. Not even trying to appear like he's cooperating, which is interesting. I mean, you don't have to cooperate, but he is a police officer, so it's a little different for him.
Going over to Brooks's house and unloading some stuff out of your trunk into your mom's car.
I don't know that I've unloaded anything from the cruiser.
Now,
So they're asking him if you went to his house on Friday, and this is very specific, unloaded things from Brooks' car and brought those things to his mother's house. And he's like, I don't know. Well, that's very specific. Okay. That is a very specific question, which would imply that they have some kind of video of that, or somebody was watching, which no doubt they were watching Nick's home at that time.
there's you got neighbors that have, a spot that they can actually see your cars in the driveway, right? Over in that area. Now, a neighbor stated that they saw you taking something out of your trunk and placing it in your mom's car.
Oh, a neighbor.
That didn't happen.
Nothing. I mean, you didn't even take a fire extinguisher out or anything.
Nope.
Okay. Where Where would the fire extinguisher be if it wasn't in your trunk when they took your car?
Should be in the trunk of the car.
I don't think it is it? I don't think there's a fire extinguisher back there. Nothing would be in your mom's car out of your police cruiser right now if we went and popped it. Well, if we went and looked, if she let us.
Not a thing.
So going back to the Friday night, would there be anything on your phone?
So it wasn't a video. It was a neighbor who reported it, and they were watching. The whole town is watching them as recently as what I want to say 3 years ago. Somebody posted, and I don't know where it was posted, if it was Facebook or somewhere, but I saw a post of a photograph from Bardstown, Kentucky, where somebody rented out a billboard that said Nick Houck failed his lie detector test. This family was known to be very arrogant. I've actually talked with a few people that have some knowledge that might even come on the show at a certain time, but closer to when the trial is. But folks in the town knew this family was sus, interestingly, because I wondered about that, and I specifically asked that question.
One of your phone records of a show call between you and Brooks at 8:30 p.m. on Friday.
Your guess is as good as mine. You want welcome to check it.
So do you have your phone with you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Where's it? Is it home?
It is.
Okay. Would you be willing to let us download it? Put it on the cell right?
Just copy the contacts and the phone
Yeah.
calls on it.
It take an hour or two. I mean, it obviously wouldn't be right this minute. We don't have a cell right here with us. But.
No, and you don't have a cell phone with you.
Okay.
He doesn't have his cell phone? Like, who leaves their phone at home anymore anyway? Come on.
What kind of phone do you have?
iPhone.
Is it a 4, 5, 6, 6 plus?
I think it's 4 or 5.
Got a passcode to it.
Mm-hmm.
The charger, is it the wider charger or is it the thinner charger?
About that wide.
That one?
Yeah, so probably 5 or 4. 5 and 6 use the hot charger, the 80
one.
so probably a 4. But it doesn't have a passcode on it.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the 8th, when you called your brother, when he was up here interviewing, what was the tone of that conversation? Was it just kind of like what we're talking here, real calm, collected?
No, I mean, I probably raised my voice a little bit. I mean, I obviously wanted John to know that I called up there, I mean, he's sitting right there beside him. I didn't have anything to hide, like I said, I wanted to be sure things were getting done right. And
Sure.
I mean, he'd been up here for hours and hours. And I wanted him to cooperate and everything, but I wanted him to protect himself also.
I mean, if you raised your voice to the point that we could sit there and basically hear word for word on the recording, on the audio recording. I mean, that's how much you raised your voice. I mean, that's.
He did, and we heard it, didn't we, when we listened to that a couple weeks ago. I have been lost on Rust as well. So we're going to talk about some other trials after this, because I saved the chat till the end tonight, because I almost started rolling on all these other trials, and I'm like, no, I'm going to get into this, and then we'll chat afterward. Yeah, there's so much going on with trials right now.
Raising your voice, it almost sounded like a shouting match. I mean,
I don't really see it that way, but I mean, I wanted him to listen, I mean.
So that night after you called your brother and told him to leave, or told him to be careful or take care of himself, et cetera, did you all meet up anywhere?
Not that I recall. I don't think we did.
Well, you talked about the videos out there at the house on the corner of Pasco Ballard.
Mm-hmm.
That video does show you and your brother going out there arriving at the same time, right behind each other.
Mm-hmm.
We got witnesses that said they remember passing both of you out on 49.
Mm-hmm.
One right, he was in front, you were behind.
We didn't make a special trip out there together. If that's what you're getting at.
I mean, that's just
Just a coincidence that y'all showed up at the same time to go out there.
and then y'all were out there till right at 11:22, you start out and stop down at the end of the drive, back up, and then you all leave out together.
What's that name you said? I backed up or?
You started down the drive and stopped, and then back up the hill a little bit, and then I guess I don't know if you're waiting for him or what, but you all left together.
I don't remember that, but.
Well, I mean,
Well, we know you rode, you arrived together and you left together. We know that.
which kind of leads us to the issue with the cruiser here. Okay.
Mhm.
We got some issues.
Okay.
Okay.
You're aware that when the cruiser was taken from you, that it was actually taken to the Kentucky State Police Forensic Central Laboratory.
That's what I assumed, Chief would have done.
Okay. So why it's at the lab, they have you ever heard of luminol? You ever been in any kind of criminal investigation
yeah.
classes? All right, you know what luminol is used for?
To find blood.
Okay. Or other
Bodily fluids.
bodily
Okay.
fluids.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So we all excrete bodily fluids, sweat, vomit, anything, saliva, all that is what would fluoresce. Why would your trunk look like a Smurf if they sprayed it? Why would it fluoresce?
I mean, it looked like Chernobyl. There's a couple spots in your trunk and that blanket, just lit up like Chernobyl.
Why would that?
There's not going to be any blood in the trunk.
Okay, well, I'm not saying blood. I'm talking about other bodily fluids.
I don't have
You
blood.
know,
There shouldn't be any bodily fluids in the trunk.
there's only one way bodily fluids can get into a trunk. That's if a body's nearby, right?
That's what I would assume.
Okay. Or unless, somebody puked in your trunk or something like that.
I don't think that happened.
Don't think that's the case.
Somebody peed in your trunk or.
So why would that be if that blanket, when they looked at it, the lab?
I've got no explanation for that. I don't have, none whatsoever.
Nobody has access to that car but you. You drive it. You put the blanket in there. You said that. If there's something on that blanket or in that car, you're the person that has something to do with it, correct?
I would assume, but
Okay.
there shouldn't be
Now-
any, there shouldn't be anything in the trunk of the car. I don't know if somebody made that up or what the deal is, but
We're not in the business of making stuff up.
Yeah, we don't.
That's not what we do.
I'm just telling you, our job is to find out what happened. It's not to change the course of events as they happened. It's to find out what happened. So we can't change what happened in that trunk. We can't change that the test showed that there's bodily fluids in that trunk area. What we need to do is we need to find out why that's the case.
And you see where we're coming from now. We've got two of you getting there together. You say it's a coincidence. Two of you leaving together. The next day, your cruiser is found with this, the stuff in the trunk, and it's taken to the lab. It's got bodily fluid in it.
I wish I knew what to tell you guys. You guys just gonna test that and let me know when you find out. There's no reason anything should be in the trunk of that car.
Did your brother ever call you and say that he'd done something to Crystal?
No, he did not.
Because here's the case. Case is, you're a police officer, we're police officers. Right? We all know how this job works. I don't believe in coincidence after having this job. I don't know if you still do or not.
Not much.
I don't, because that when somebody is sitting here talking to us and telling us that everything's a coincidence and we have either physical evidence or video or something to prove that that's not the fact, we kind of stop believing in coincidence. Now, that's the case of where we're at right here. There's too much linking you and him leaving when he leaves the police department, going down the road, both arriving together, both leaving together. There is some reason why you all went out to that farm. Now, I'm not a big, fan of amnesia either, because I've heard that 20 or 30 times a week when I'm talking to people. So I don't believe people just lose their memory.
Mm-hmm.
I think people forget what they don't want to talk about. They hide those things. And sometimes it's a good person that does that because they're trying to protect their family or they're trying to protect themselves. But you know what? There's also bad people in this world. And those bad people intentionally lie and intentionally use those excuses, to make it harder for the police to find out what really happened, because they're deep down, they're just a bad person.
Oh, I agree with you 100%.
So I don't think that we're dealing with a type of person here that's a bad person. I think we're dealing with somebody like you that's coming forward and trying to be cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I think you're somebody that would protect your family in a case like this. And if your family told you something, that you would try to protect them to the best of your abilities, especially since you're a police officer. Okay.
She's got kids. I mean, there's no way that I would cover this up for him.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
But, you know, we also have to take it, we all have family. We know how family bonds run. I mean, you know, family's family. You know, you've got your work family, and you've got your real family. I mean, you know, there's things that the people have done in the name of family that have been in positions that, you know, you would just kind of scratch your head to think, well, why would they do that? But it was all out of love, you know, for the family. You know, your brothers, you grew up together, you probably rumbled on the ground together, knocking each other.
Before they keep going on this, I just want to, it just haunts me in the segment that we started with last week, how when he talked about being a police officer, he right away spoke to how much he was earning as a police officer. This guy does not seem like, I mean, it seems like there's something missing with him. Like most police officers will have a bigger why than that, than, you know, I want to earn whatever minimum wage or whatever he was saying he earned. And he also, you know, it's just also haunting me that he doesn't socialize with fellow officers, which is kind of weird, especially in light that, and if you're not familiar with this case, there are several murders in Bardstown, and they started with the murder, which has yet been unsolved, of another police officer that he was working with, who he mentioned his name in last week's segment as well. So it's just super, he doesn't seem emotionally invested at all in being an officer, what you would expect. He's not even trying. He's not even trying, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
That's all. Yeah. I mean, I've got a brother. That's what we did growing up. We took turns beating the fire out of each other.
yeah.
But at the same point, we're at a point here, like you said, coincidences, we throw them out the window. You know, not knowing exactly what time you sit down and ate dinner yesterday, that's one thing. Not remembering
that you ate dinner at all.
That's another.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
You know, we've and then you add that on top of the biological evidence that's been located in the trunk.
We're not.
That's what
asking you
scares
hard.
me right there. I mean, I just can't believe that.
Well, we're not asking you hard questions here. As far as
Oh,
I'm not
agree.
asking you, did you pull in at 7:22 p.m. on the other night? No. I'm asking you, hey, last week on Wednesday, a week from today, do you remember going out to the farm? Do you remember arriving with your brother? Do you remember leaving with your brother? What did you do while you were out there? Those aren't hard questions.
And I don't remember that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't.
I mean, is it just such a routine that you go out there and just arrive at the same time? And
We both go out there a lot, you know. I mean, it is a place we hang out, you know, quite frequently.
Sure, and you've told us that, and we believe that.
Mhm.
But we're asking you specific days a week ago, okay?
Yeah,
Have you been out to the farm since then, or is that the last time you've been out to the farm?
Since the 8th,
Since, yes, a
Well,
week ago last Wednesday.
I'm sure I've been out there since then.
Okay, have you and your brother both met out there since
No.
last? Okay, so we're asking you about the last time that you and your brother met at the farm. All right, we're not asking you for specifics about it. We're just asking if you remember both arriving there, what you did while you were there, and when you left, and why you were out.
I don't.
I mean,
I really don't.
we're trying to make it as easy as we can for you as far as asking you questions.
because from our perspective, I mean, we're not talking about just, you know, coincidence, y'all showing up at the same time. I mean, your brother's subject of a police investigation right now that's made national news.
I'm telling you, if my brother was under the microscope right now, I would remember everything that he did, everything that we talked about, everything that we
Sometimes
did together.
sometimes I can't remember what happened 2 days ago, you know. I mean,
And
I'm being 100% honest with you.
and I understand that, but being a police officer, you know, we kind of have to remember things. You
Yeah,
know,
if you didn't write it down, if you didn't, remember it, it didn't happen, right?
Well, but I write everything down. If you look at my notes, I mean, it's all written down. I've got it. When I go testify in court, I mean, I've got the report right in front of me, you know.
Sure.
But sometimes I couldn't tell you what I did 2 days ago.
But work is one thing, your family is another. If something happened that was close to my family, if something happened where that I was affected by it, because you're affected by this, whether or not you think you are,
Oh,
you
I
are.
agree.
I mean, you're wrapped up in this. Even if there's no indication of anything else, your name is the same as his, right?
I agree with
Okay, and you do police work, right?
Yes.
And this is a police investigation. So there ain't no way you're gonna be able to stay out of this completely, right?
No.
Okay, so you ought to be thinking in your head, how am I gonna save face with the guys I work with? How am I gonna, explain this to my family? How you've got to have those things going through your head. If you're a normal functioning person like we all are, then it's natural for us to feel that way. It's natural
He's not normal. Hint. There's a hint right there. He's either lying or he's not normal or both.
for us to be inquisitive, especially as police officers. We always want to know what's going on. We're like the neighborhood watch 24/7, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the way we are. Now, I just can't expect that you would forget all those details, being as you're a police officer and sitting here talking to you and seeing how you interact with people. I just find that very hard to believe.
I'm sorry you find it hard to believe. That's the way it is. I mean, it's just, that's it. I mean,
How annoying is that answer? I'm sorry you find it hard to believe. Let the gaslighting begin. The gaslighting that he does and his brother did is just, again, probably quite the learned family trait. Unbelievable.
I mean, a month ago, I would expect you not to remember something, but a week ago, with all this national media attention
Ugh.
and all these questions probably being asked by people out here on the street and all these rumor mills going around, I would expect you to remember that.
but at the same time, you got, I mean, he hadn't really came to me,
I mean, you talked on that day, he called you.
I'm sure we talked briefly, but like I said, I mean, we haven't really discussed anything, so therefore I don't have a lot of details to give you.
Well, we're not asking you.
Who does that remind you of? Family members, tight-knit family. They're all co-conspirators. Oh, but I don't discuss anything with them. The cop and the lawyer both. Hello, Wendy. Yeah. Very Wendy of him.
Details about necessarily what he did more than details about what you did, with details about you going to the farm and him being there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you all leaving, hence you being there and you leaving.
We would expect, we're just going back to this time, y'all arriving at the farm at 8:11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it's getting to be summertime, but that doesn't leave you a whole lot of daylight for fishing or tooling around, and it could start about 9 o'clock.
9:30.
So, but you're there till 11, almost 11:30.
Yeah, but I mean, with all this going on, I mean, it's like I say, it's just a good way to go out there and get rid of some stress.
Well, what did you do to get rid of stress? I mean, what did he do to get rid of stress?
Y'all shoot some clay pigeons or something, or?
No, I mean, like I told you before, I mean, I'll go out there, I ride the four-wheeler religiously. I'll go to the lake, and like the last hour before it gets dark, that's about the best time to go fishing.
Sure.
So, I mean, I understand y'all's perspective, but you got it wrong. I mean, I know you're doing your job, and I'm not, I don't hold it against you. Do what you need to do, but
Is there any reason that her DNA is going to come back in your trunk?
I'm 100% certain it won't. You're dead in the water. No way.
What about on that blanket?
No way.
Any hairs, fibers,
No
anything
way.
like that?
No way.
Never took anything out of your trunk, is what you're saying.
I didn't.
So if we had somebody who had seen you do that, seen you take stuff out of your trunk and put it in your
You're
neighbor's
just
trunk,
making stuff up.
the coincidence of you all both arriving there at the same time, not having any kind of conversation, can't remember anything that you talked about, anything that you did at the farm, and then leaving at the exact same time.
I'm telling you, it was coincidence. I mean, I know it sounds fishy, but that's
I
the
mean,
way it is.
but I mean, you can appreciate how.
Oh, I can.
I mean, we're.
I mean, this isn't our first rodeo, and I'm sure this isn't your first time dealing with a criminal investigation. So you kind of know what to expect. So I would even expect you to hold this to a higher standard and say, man, this is gonna, it just doesn't sound right. It doesn't match up.
It's a weird case.
I mean, it is.
It's a weird case. They're saying, I would expect you to hold this to a higher standard, what I believe was his quote, if I'm quoting him correctly. And he comes back with, it's a weird case. I mean, it's almost as if he's talking about a case that's a year old or something like that. And just so, by the way, okay, so some questions that are coming up. First of all, since he was fired, and he hasn't even been fired yet, this is back in July 20. So we're going back in order to learn this case from the beginning, because there's a million moving parts. But this is why he's being interviewed, to see if he was involved in the murder or disappearance of Brooks' baby mama, Crystal Rogers, and if he interfered with the investigation as a police officer. Because if you looked at the interview from a couple of weeks ago, you'll see why they just asked him about that. Since then, as recent as last fall of 2023, October, actually, it was announced as a surprise by the DA in a hearing for his brother Brooks, that Nick tried to sell a weapon under a false name. Guess who he sold it to, or tried to sell it to? The FBI. So he's suspected that was the weapon that they believe killed Crystal's father, which didn't even happen yet at this interview. So a lot of your questions require a long answer because of the time and all that, but we'll just get through this part, and we'll get to some of that too in the chat.
It's a very odd case, and we're like I said, we're sitting here with, it still remains that we understand that you may not remember every single time you've been out to the farm or what you do. We all have habits. Like I said, you ride the four-wheeler religiously, and fishing right before dark's the best time to go. Yeah, I understand that completely. But something's just not adding up here. 1 + 1 always equals 2. And you look at the fact that you call him and you raise your voice to him, like you said, to tell him that he needs to be careful.
I'm big brother. I'm gonna kind of, try to protect him. At the same time, I mean, I'm not gonna cover something like this up for him. I'm just not that kind of guy. And furthermore, I mean, there's no way he had anything to do with this. If something has happened to her, it wasn't because of something he did. Again, I know you guys have got a job to do. I mean, do it, but I mean, you're wasting time.
Well,
you guys got a job to do. Go do it. I mean, they're so bossy, both of the brothers. They just don't mind bossing people around. They're trying to do their job. You're lying to them and deflecting and whatnot. And it's just, again, the gaslighting is maddening.
who else would be responsible for this?
I mean, I don't have any names to give you. If I did,
What do you think?
What do you think happened?
I mean, she's a nice looking woman. I don't know if she got out there on the Bluegrass Parkway and somebody abducted her. I don't know what happened, but I know Brooks didn't have anything to do with it. I just feel 100% certain. I mean,
But he's never denied it to you.
No. I mean, I've never asked him. I just don't feel like, I feel like I know Brooks well enough that, I know
I never asked him. Again, shades of Wendy.
he would never do this. I'm not going to question him about it.
So you never even asked him that. You never said, "Hey, did you have anything to do with this? Tell me you didn't have anything to do with this."
No, I've never asked him that.
Never said that.
No.
Well, I mean, you say you ride the four-wheeler religiously.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you say you go out there?
I mean, I'm out there 2, 3, 4 times a week. I mean,
how come the cameras don't show you there a couple weeks? The 2-week period before last week.
I'm not saying I go there every week, but I'm just saying
religiously means every week, 2 to 3 times.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying on average, I'm probably out there a good 2, 3, 4 times a week.
But you weren't for the 2 weeks before
That doesn't make sense. I mean,
It
doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know what it should be on the camera. You go back and look at the camera, do what you need to do. But I mean,
we have.
You say there was a 3-week period I've never been out there?
2 weeks before.
I don't believe that.
So here's another interesting thing, very similar to his brother. He's saying, oh, go look at the camera. You can do all that. Okay. In other words, do all those things. I'm not going to help you. And Brooks did the same thing. Well, you can look at the phone. You can look at the records. Why do you need me to tell you? Yeah, well, they need to tell you so they can catch you in a lie or not cooperating or whatever. Mostly catching them in lies, but he knows that. But again, it's just the mannerisms are so arrogant and flippant with a missing person at this point. It's been almost a week. It's really, yeah, it's been a week. So it's maddening.
For this last week,
I don't believe that.
like since before the 3rd.
That's not accurate.
But you can remember going out there then, but you can't remember.
Well, I just feel like I'm 99% certain that there wouldn't be a 2 or 3 week gap between going out there. Now, I don't necessarily remember going out there, but there's no way that I went 3 weeks without going to the farm. No way.
So you say you went out to the farm on the 8th, you and your brother didn't have any contact that you remember. You just went and did your own thing, even though you got there at the same time and left at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember anything that he said or anything. We just kind of passed and rolled on.
He had anybody with him?
Not that I recall.
Did anybody else see you all both out there other than the camera at the
I don't
house pulling in?
I don't think so.
Because you told somebody, I think, at one point that you remember being out there that night and you and Brooks sitting there talking with your mom.
I don't remember that. I mean,
So you're saying that the biological fluids they found in the car,
are you for certain there's biological fluids?
Yes, I'm absolutely certain that
they
biological fluids in there.
they wouldn't cut holes in your trunk liner and take it for further testing if it wasn't biological fluid.
When you get that car back and see that car, it's gonna have stuff cut out all over it.
And that blanket lit up like Chernobyl.
That
When
blanket
they sprayed
ain't
it.
coming back.
Well, I mean, there's no way that none of her biological fluids or anything's gonna be on that blanket or anything. I don't know where the stuff came from, if it is there, but it's not hers.
So you never helped him move a body?
I did not.
Never helped him move any evidence.
Never.
Because, I mean, here's what we think happened. We think that your brother is a good guy, and we think that he's probably a pretty good father to that boy. I mean, he's probably a pretty good boyfriend to Crystal, but we all have times where something just happens. All right, he probably found out that some other police officer or some other person in the town was cracking Crystal. And
That
when he,
very easily could happen.
you know, and that very easily could have happened, you know. Somebody maybe around here, I don't know. But we think that that's what happened, and your brother found out about it and confronted Crystal about it, and when he did, you know, he probably tried to maybe do something to her as far as, you know, making her understand that wasn't going to fly with him.
You know, that didn't happen.
So this is very common for interrogators to first go, if they're getting nowhere, which they're obviously not getting super far with him, go to the, you know what, it happens, people cheat, crime of passion, might have even been another cop. I don't know why they would say that, but that's an interesting twist. But I forgot about this. I had watched this interview so long ago. I mean, years ago. So I'm remembering some things here that I must have forgotten. But anyway, very common for them to be like, yeah, well, there's probably a reason, you know, trying to give him any way to say, yeah, you know, he was jealous or something like that. Giving him an out, exactly.
And then after that point, you know, maybe it went just a little bit too far. And when it went just a little bit too far, he couldn't turn back time. And when he couldn't turn back time, who's he going to reach out to? But the one person that he trusts and knows that would help him out, and that would be you. And when he called you or he reached out to you, you know, you heard that your brother was in a tough spot, and you being the good family man that you are, the good person that you are, you thought, well, I know this is wrong, but it's also right to take care of my brother and to keep him from going to prison for
I
the
can
rest
see
of his
you
life.
looking at things
And
that
then-
way, but
and
I
then
mean, there's no way
at
that
that
happened.
point, at that
I mean,
point,
I've done told you that, you know,
well, at that point, Nick, you talk to him and he asks you to do something for him, and you try to help him out with advice all that you can, but it finally comes to a point where advice isn't good enough anymore. He actually needed somebody to help him with something. And at that point, Nick, that's when you had to actually do something that you're ashamed of and that you're not proud of, and you blocked it from your memory because you are ashamed of that. And because you're a good person, you actually have feelings, You block that out in your head. When you block that out in your head, that's why you're having a problem remembering this stuff. But I know, you know, and Detective Vaughn here knows that something like that happened. And that's exactly what we think happened in this situation. And Nick, this is the time
This
and
is
the
it.
place.
This is
Okay?
your one
Now,
chance.
Nick, if we find out that this stuff comes back in your trunk, or if we find a body, if a hunter finds that body pretty soon, assuming, you know, that they do, it's going to be a different game. It's going to be a different ball game at that point, okay? This right now is the first inning. You know, once we find that out, that's closer to the ninth. We got less time to make up ground and change what's on the scoreboard, because the scoreboard is going to be the same as it would be in the ninth inning, as it would be in the top or the bottom. It's not going to be what it was in the first. All right, we can change the score right now, but we can't later. So Nick, this is the only opportunity that we have to sit here and find out if you're the actual honest person that we think that you are.
Well, I'm 100% honest.
And I don't deny that, Nick, but you're not being honest with us about this, okay? Now,
I've
whether
been
it's by
100%
choice,
honest. Okay, and it's obvious you've got plenty of experience. I mean, you guys are squared away, but I can tell you,
well,
there's
Nick,
no way it happened the way you said it. It sounds logical,
it's very logical, Nick,
Yeah,
because it's what happened.
but no, it didn't happen that way.
Because it's what
It
happened.
didn't.
Okay.
How do you know it didn't happen
You
that
know,
way?
Nick, you can't remember what happened.
Well, he's saying Brooks did it, and I was in on it. I mean, there's no way.
But were you there? Were you
Well, then
able
what
to see
happened?
that Brooks didn't do it?
No, but I know him well enough to know that.
Well, I know lots of people, okay? I know troopers that I've worked with for my entire career. And guess what? They're not troopers anymore. And I thought I could say
Because they
that
made a
about them.
mistake.
I
Oh,
thought I could say that, because you know what? We're
I
all
love
people,
that.
no matter what this says, no
Mhm.
matter what we go to church and say on Sunday, no matter what that we appear like, everybody is a person, and every person can change in a heartbeat.
Well,
Whether they choose to or not, sometimes things just happen. We make mistakes.
I haven't made any mistakes, and I have been 100% honest.
Well, Nick, I don't disagree that
I haven't made any mistakes. Spoken like a true. Yeah. Okay. This was just beautiful. He wants to interrupt so badly. Both brothers show that they want to interrupt, they want to dominate. They want to dominate and control conversations, boss people around. This just was beautiful, very therapeutic.
you know, you hadn't made any mistakes in your career maybe, but in this, there's been some mistakes made. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
Because when you start thinking with this goes out the window. Logic goes out the window.
Man, all I can tell you is, I mean, Brooks is a good guy. He didn't have anything to do with this. You know, obviously, you know, I'm hoping for the best and expecting the worst, because I'm a police officer. I hope she walks in his front door anytime, but at the same time, I mean, she's been gone for a while. She hadn't made contact with the kids.
Well,
You
you know,
guys
it's national media attention. We know that she's not just out walking around in public somewhere because somebody would have called us. All right, it's been all over the news.
Or she would have said,
Yeah.
and at least
Her-
called here and said, hey, I'm okay.
She wouldn't have any way to get money. She wouldn't have any way to call anybody. Okay, so the assumption of what you're talking about, assuming the worst, I think we can say that's logical to think right now.
If she had a flat tire, she would have used her cell phone
To call somebody. Her cell phone,
It makes sense.
her cell phone,
It makes sense.
her cell phone's dead out there. There's nobody calling to ask for help.
Mhm.
You know, she didn't call. Now, Crystal's not the type of person, from what I know of her, and I've done a lot of background, she's not the type of person that's gonna get out, get the spare tire out, get the jack out, change the tire, and nothing be out there on the scene. You know, but
Yeah, I don't think she would change the tire either.
Okay,
I
she
mean, I
called
don't-
somebody. She would have called somebody.
Mhm.
Okay, she would have called her boyfriend. She would have called her mom, her mom, dad. She would have called the police, called 911. I don't know, maybe even would have called you. I don't know, but she would have called somebody.
And you know,
I think
But she didn't do that. And she didn't do that.
You know as well as we do, bluegrass is not very heavily traveled at that time of night. After 10 o'clock, you might see a car every minute or two.
Man, I can appreciate the job you guys are doing. I mean, I'm not, you know,
But
I mean,
Nick,
I want
Nick,
you
we're
to
not just doing a job though, Nick. We're trying to find out for the 4 kids. She got 4
Yeah,
kids,
you
right?
know, four,
4 or 5, maybe
four,
5. Okay, she's got 5 kids. We're trying to find out for them because it's not fair for them to not know what happened to their mom.
I'm with you.
And that's why we're here. We're not here to get anybody in trouble. I mean, that's part of our job. We got to arrest people. We got to put them in jail. But our main job, or what I come to work for, is to solve these crimes,
Mhm.
to give people answers. All right. And I'm not going to waste my time on something that's not worth it. So I wouldn't be here talking to you, Nick, if I thought this was a waste of time. And when you said it's a waste of time, you know, I don't think you understand that.
I think the time
this is not a waste of time.
I think the time would be better spent somewhere else. I mean, that's all I'm looking.
We're at.
I think the time would be better spent right here if we just all started telling the truth. You know,
Well,
we all started talking.
I know I'm telling the truth.
Well,
are you
Nick,
telling the truth?
Nick, I'm telling the truth.
Okay.
But what I need you to do is I need you.
The arrogance. I know I'm telling the truth. Are you telling the truth? My goodness. My goodness. Wow.
To remember those things that you say that you can't remember.
What a snot.
Okay, whether it's damning towards your brother, whether it's damning towards somebody else, there's a reason why those aren't coming forward. Okay, there's a reason.
There is a reason. You know what it is?
Well, if you can't remember it, I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's it.
that's not a very good reason.
Well,
you know that. You know that in your heart. You know that's.
It may not be a good reason, but it's the truth.
Well, it's not a good reason.
Okay.
And we're thinking of reason and logic in this room. You've already mentioned it twice. Yes, that's logical. Yes, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't he remind you of like a bratty junior high school kid? I mean, just the talk back aspect. He's just such a, yeah. I mean, I'm getting irritated. I was all calm when I started. He's really making me mad.
All right, those are the kind of things that we use as investigators, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And then you added the addition, the dog indicating on your car. Let's take it to the lab. Biological fluids are found in the trunk of your car where there shouldn't be anything.
There shouldn't be. There's not going to be. There not shouldn't be. There's not going to
Well,
be.
there is. I mean, there's no disputing that there is biological fluid in the trunk of your car.
The dog wouldn't have hit on the quarter panel in the trunk if there wouldn't have been something in there. We wouldn't have sent it to the lab if the dog didn't hit on it. The lab wouldn't have tested and sprayed luminol and it came back looking like a Smurf if there wasn't something there. There's, you know, if just the dog hit on it, maybe the dog had something up its nose that day, okay? But when you take it and you put it and you spray it at the lab, you know, that's two different things that are verified there's something in
And the
that
guy
car.
that hit the car before you was a Nick.
I just love that. I will never forget this. It looks like a Smurf when it lit up like a Smurf is what they're saying when they sprayed the luminol on in his trunk, meaning that there was so much that the luminol picked up, which is really interesting. So they're saying he used the cop car to transport Crystal's body. You would think he'd have been smart enough to wash it, but then I'm wondering maybe it was somebody else. Like, would he be that stupid to use the cop car to transport her body? You would think he would know they're going to check all of these things. So odd. So odd. I mean, the murder of the fellow cop, that body was left, so there was no body put in any trunk. The murder of Crystal's father hadn't happened yet, but it wasn't put in a trunk either. So it's only Crystal's that we know of. But it does make you wonder, or unless it was like, I don't know. It's just the whole thing. I love that Smurf thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was probably spotless when you got it,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
But you know, I mean, the other thing you got, you know, when speaking about logic, I mean, who would do this on a city-maintained cruiser?
Well, you know,
I mean, who would do that?
what better way to go undetected?
I disagree, man. I just disagree with that.
What better way to go undetected? Who's going to
Who would do that? Does that sound familiar? Oh my gosh. Shades of Wendy. Da, 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 da,
stop the police car?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I just.
I mean, on the bluegrass, how
No,
many people drive around?
no one's going to do
Who's going to
that.
stop a truck that's been followed by a police car? Nobody.
Who's going to think anything if they see a police car on the side of the road?
I see your side of it. I guess there's flip sides to everything, but
But who's going to think of anything if they see a police car on the side of the Bluegrass Parkway behind the car with the flat tire? You know, dropping a car off on the interstate. Nobody's going to think anything of it. They're going to say, look,
I mean, you're
it's a
right.
mistake. You know?
I can't deny it, you know, but you're wrong. I mean,
Well, you tell me that you're telling the truth, and that's what you're maintaining, right?
most
And
definitely.
you're telling me you want to be cooperative. That's why you're here, right?
Yes.
Okay. What about taking a polygraph exam? You took one to
Polygraph.
become a police officer. I took one to become a police officer. Didn't you take one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Now we know that your brother went up there and took a polygraph. Okay. He didn't fail the polygraph. All right. We didn't say he failed the polygraph.
Mhm.
They said that the polygraph was inconclusive, which means it's neither pass nor fail, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So if they can't get 100% accurate reading, they're not going to make a judgment on it, right? Because they're being fair. All right. Inconclusive doesn't mean anything. It just means inconclusive.
It's like clocking two cars. If you can't tell which one was the one you're getting ready to write a ticket for speeding, you're not gonna write it.
Yeah.
You don't pull them
Yeah,
out
I
unless
don't-
you're 100% sure.
I don't mind to take the polygraph. I mean, I really don't.
So you'd take a polygraph and say the exact same thing if they ask you on the polygraph. If they said, Nick, did you have any involvement with the disappearance?
I'd say no, because I didn't.
Okay. And if they said, Nick, did you have any knowledge of her disappearance? What would you say?
No.
Now, if they ask you, did you load that body up into the trunk of your Bardstown
Say
City Cruiser?
No.
Okay. So, pretty easy test, wouldn't it be?
Sounds like it.
Okay. You be willing to do that?
How'd you do on it? How would you do on it?
I think I'll pass it flying colors. I've got nothing to hide.
How about anybody else? I mean, did Crystal, do you think Crystal would have known something that she shouldn't have known, and that's probably why she went missing? If you don't believe the story about him getting, maybe a little physical with her maybe one time?
Now, this is an interesting question because this could, there was speculation that Crystal knew about the death of the other police officer and that she found out about that, and that also that there was some knowledge that she gained about Brooks cheating on his taxes. I think it was more about, I think it was her mother who said that she came upon information. I don't quote me, but on that. But there has been some talk about what Crystal, maybe she came into some knowledge that made her a threat.
You think she could have known something?
What's that now? Back up a little bit. I'm not following you.
Okay. Well, you said you don't believe the story that he maybe got a little physical with her.
No, I don't think Brooks is ever physical.
Now, what about Brooks? He's got a lot to lose. I mean, he's got a pretty nice life, it seems like. I mean, he's doing pretty well for himself. What if she had some information that would turn his life upside down?
Yeah, I mean, he was still, no matter what she had, he wouldn't have done anything like this.
Okay. And what if she had information on somebody like you or somebody else? What would you say about that?
I don't know where you're going with information. What kind of, what do you
I mean, what if she knew something about you that you didn't want anybody else in the world to know? Or anybody, not just you. I mean,
and if she did, what do you ask
do
him?
you think that might have been what happened? I mean, is that more logical than him getting a physical altercation with her? What's more logical?
I mean, did she pop off and say, well, I know you're dirty, you're doing this and this to these tenants, or you're doing X, Y, and Z to this, and he just, and just,
He ever say anything like that to you?
No.
He never mentioned anything about her making stuff up about it,
No.
telling her friends anything?
so obviously we've gone down that, it's not a logical explanation in your mind.
I don't think so.
And what, like him, I agree. I think what happened is it was something heat of the moment. We all get in the heat of the moment, and just be honest, shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
Shit happens that we can't take back, that we wish we could.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I know nothing like that happened, and I mean, you guys are kind of going over the same stuff. I mean, if I could help you in any way with the investigation, I would. I mean, I'm just that kind of guy. She's got kids. There's no way that I could deal with something like that and just cover it up.
What about Brooks? What about him?
What about it?
Is he that type of person, or is he
I
a
think,
person that could? I mean, everybody's different.
no, I don't. There's no way he could do something like that. He's not capable of it.
Would he be capable of asking somebody else to do something like that?
Brooks ain't gonna hire that out. I mean, there's just no way he had anything to do with it.
What about he rents a lot of property? I'm sure he rents to some shady people.
Oh, I bet he does.
Ever found any indoor grows or anything in any of his properties?
No, not that I'm aware of.
You know they do that around here a lot.
Oh,
indoor
yeah, most
properties.
definitely.
Meth labs, anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, Nelson County's full of dope. I mean,
Any chance that he'd be involved in something like that?
no way. Brooks doesn't fool with any kind of drugs. He doesn't drink. No way.
I mean, there's certain people that are involved in that kind of stuff that aren't aren't involved in it
Yeah,
themselves,
yeah.
you know what I mean? They're in it for the money.
Yeah, but he's not. I mean, he makes plenty of money.
What do you think should happen to somebody, say they killed somebody in the heat of the moment? Just kind of they didn't really mean to.
I think they're just as guilty as somebody that killed him anyway. Yeah, I don't have any patience for that kind of crap. I mean, she's got kids and stuff, and I mean, anybody that could have anything to do with her disappearance or possibly kill somebody, man, they need to be dealt with.
What about somebody that comes in after the fact that didn't have anything to do with the killing or the disappearance? And
I think they're just as guilty.
do you think any of them should be given a second chance?
No, I don't believe in taking chances. I mean, I'm a pretty conservative guy. You don't want a lot of issues, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, anybody to do anything like that, just we don't need them here on earth.
Mm?
So if Brooks did do this, you feel the same way?
Most definitely.
If Brooks did it, he'd be dead to you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have another thing to do with him. I mean, anybody that's that despicable and just disregard the kids, and I mean, that's a pretty nasty person. About as bad as it
Even
gets.
if there was a reason, if that person thought they had a reason.
I can't think of one reason in my head that could justify something like that.
If somebody, you know, we obviously have to go through our lives thinking different than other people. As police officers, you know we might kill somebody every day we come to work.
Possibility.
But that's only if somebody's going to try to kill us first.
Exactly. Now that's obviously self-defense. I mean, that's not.
That's a difference. Okay. But having that same mentality, you know, did Crystal and him have ever had any problems? Maybe where she could have done something to him where he had to defend himself, and then
I don't really know of any instance like that, or the incident y'all brought up about her seeing some other dude. I mean, I really don't.
I can say fairly sure, certainly that she was seeing other people.
You know, she may have. I mean, I didn't really know her that well. I can't tell you you're wrong. You know.
And your brother, you know, has he ever been known to run around on girls?
I don't think he's ever ran around on her. I can't say that he's never cheated on a girlfriend, but I mean,
Well, your brothers, you've probably seen some things or heard some things in the past, but as far as Crystal, he wasn't running around on her.
no.
Well, why weren't they married? Why didn't they get married? You ever talk about marrying her?
Well, I mean, as far as I know, she was married to, was it Keith Rogers or whoever it was? I mean, I think they, you know, at one time they were talking about, you know, trying to get her divorced from him, but as far as either one of them running around, I don't believe that's the case. That's what I believe. But like I said, I wasn't around her a lot, and I can't tell you that you're wrong.
Well,
So he can't tell them that they're wrong about this, but he was adamant that they were wrong about some of the other things earlier. That's very interesting. By the way, I think these are really good interrogators.
when could you take the polygraph exam?
I'll be off the next few days, so I mean,
So I mean,
if that's something.
if we got one set up for tomorrow, or got one, well, it's kind of late now to set one up tomorrow, but maybe if we got one set up for the next couple of days, would that be something that you could do?
Why don't we just shoot for Monday?
Well, what if they're, you know,
What is today?
today is Wednesday, so we got Thursday and Friday still before they close down for the weekend.
Okay.
And it
Well,
all depends on their availability.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
they might have.
I mean, I've got a lot of stuff going on. I just moved and everything. Let's just try to shoot for Monday, and if that'll make you guys happy, then I'll be more than glad to do it.
Well,
I don't have a problem with it.
the thing about
They just said no to Monday. They just said no to Monday. Come on, dude. If that'll make you happy, we'll just do Monday. They just said no. That's not going to make them happy. Wow. These guys.
it is, you know, we go up there, take the test. You're telling us that you're being honest,
Yes,
right?
100%.
You're 100% on that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know that I've sat here and talked to people in that same seat that you're in right now that have told me they're being 100% honest, and later on I find out they're not.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a fair assessment?
Most definitely.
Okay, so you sitting in the chair that I'm sitting in right here, and somebody sitting there in your chair telling you that same thing.
I'm skeptical as you are. I'm probably more skeptical.
The polygraph is something that can help us. It's a tool. We don't use it in court, but it's a tool.
Yeah.
All right. Just
If
like
that makes
anything
you,
else.
you know, whatever does it for you, it'll be fine.
But agreeing to do that now, you're not gonna change your mind later.
No, I'll
You're
do it.
you're
I'll
gonna,
do
you're
it.
gonna be a man of your word, and you're gonna take
You got
polygraph
it.
if we set it
Yes.
up. Yes, sir.
Hang tight.
All right. Do you want anything to drink?
No, just be wrapping it up though, because I'm fixing to get out.
Okay.
Pretty sure this is the end. Oh,
Get
here
the
we go.
keys back from the car so we can get out of here.
My mind's about to go to sleep.
Can you think of anything else I need to ask you or anything else that's
I
important?
don't. I mean, I think you did a good job, you know. I mean, I can commend you for that. You seem like a pretty squared away dude.
Well, you know, I just want to make sure that we cover everything, because obviously there might be a second opportunity for us to sit down and talk. I mean, if you remember something that's different between now and then. So
Yeah, if you
I'll
got
set up that polygraph exam, and I mean, I'm sure we can talk for a minute or two before or after that if we need to. So
If you got a card, I'll be more than glad to call you if something comes up. I mean,
all right, so you ready to roll? Yeah.
There he goes. There they go. So that's that. So we have, let me see if I can show, I'm going to show the credits. I think there's credits at the end. Oh, no, it goes right to the next one. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Okay. So there you have it. There you have it. So the next interview we're going to see is his going over the results with them, or them going over the results with him of the polygraph. So it's about 10 days after this that'll be our next live stream. So Tommy Ballard is, for those who aren't familiar, Crystal Rogers' father, who was murdered about a year later. And as I mentioned earlier, in October of 23, so just about less than 6 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, 5-6 months ago, DA announced, actually the special prosecutor, not the DA, announced that Nick Houck attempted to sell, I think it was a rifle, if I'm not mistaken, to an undercover FBI agent, excuse me, and under a fake name. And it was being sent away for testing, but they did believe it was the murder weapon of Tommy Ballard. So he held on to it for whatever it was, 8 years, 7, 8 years, then tries to sell it. I'm not sure why he would want to sell it at that point, because he must have had it hidden away. They didn't find it. And they're still testing it. So I don't know what they can find out from ballistics and whatever from this gun, but they did announce that they thought it was the murder weapon for Crystal's father. So yeah, okay. So that is definitely an established fact that he is the number one suspect for Tommy Ballard's murder. Unfortunately, still no word on the police officer who was murdered a year before Crystal Rogers, who was one of his colleagues. But what they have said is that the style in which the police officer as well as Tommy were murdered were very similar. It was by somebody who knew what they were doing, how to disguise themselves, probably camouflage, whatnot, and take a shot and murder. So they're very similar. So they do suspect, I think, Nick in the murder of the police officer as well. So, okay, so that's where the acorn came from. Okay, I gotcha. Oh, and then Tennis Girl says the police officer story in the acorn. Yeah, it sounds like a great fairy tale, right? A very bad fairy tale. So, okay, so it's a complicated case, which is why I'm doing the live streams with their interrogations, and then there are a lot of other things that we can cover to kind of prep ourselves for the trial whenever it happens, and possibly another arrest. Nick Houck was supposed to have a trial this month, actually, I thought, but then I'm not sure if his lawyer wanted it moved, I'm guessing. But yes, so now he's being tried with 2 other co-conspirators who were indicted for being involved in helping with Crystal Rogers' murder and planning it. One of them was an employee / friend acquaintance of Brooks Houck, and the other is his father. So it's a father and son, not related to him, but a father and son who are also going to go on trial with Brooks. And I believe it was moved to February 2025, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not on my docket yet because it's 2025 and I'm having a hard time just keeping up with 2024 trials. If Nick gets arrested, even if he's charged with conspiracy, which I imagine he would be if he murdered Tommy Ballard, which is just insane. I imagine he would be involved in then be charged with conspiracy as well. Now, the grand jury met by then, in 2015, which was kind of leaked in the last hearing as well in October of 23. And every family member of the Houck family, the mother, the sister, Brooks, Nick, and there was one other family member, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, the grandmother. Brooks' grandmother. All recorded the secret grand jury proceedings that they were involved with. They were not charged because they didn't find out that they did record that. Those recordings were found. They didn't destroy those recordings. Those recordings were found when doing a warrant search in 2023, and in the statute of limitations had already worn out on that. So, I mean, this whole family is involved, including the grandmother. Another similarity to the Adelsons that I've mentioned before is that Brooks' mother wanted custody of Brooks and Crystal's son, who was, I believe, 2 at the time of Crystal's murder. Wouldn't let Crystal's mother see the child. After Brooks got arrested and it was announced that Nick's was suspected in Crystal's father's murder and that they recorded the grand jury, finally Brooks' mother, and her name escapes me right now, it's on the graphic I'll show at the end, finally gave up in the custody fight. So it's just all so messy and bad. Right, it's the Lawsons, the father and the son. Their last name is Lawson, and there's still a chance that he could. And Exotic Prairie does say, I sure wish, was hoping the Lawson and the son would tell where Crystal and testify against Brooks. He might. Yeah, very similar to the Adelsons. Okay, does anyone want to chat about what other trials? Okay, so that they were watching this week. I'm totally into Rust now. Hannah Gutierrez. I did watch the entire, I shouldn't say watch because I don't watch. Listen to the entire, whatever it was, 5 weeks of Jennifer Dulos, Michelle Troconis. And it was just such a nauseatingly long trial for what it was. I'm not surprised at the outcome or anything like that, but there were just so many things that I thought were interesting about that trial, but I'm just glad it's done because it just seemed to go on forever. But Rust is really interesting. I don't know if you have noticed this, but one of the things I watch for when I'm watching or listening to a trial especially if I can watch, is when a witness comes on, say for the prosecution, right? And then they're getting cross-examined by the defense. When the witness basically changes personality from one to the other, and I've seen this already so many times with so many witnesses, or at least 2 or 3, I should say, so far with the Rust witnesses for the prosecution, that it really makes me suspicious of the prosecution. Obviously of the person providing the witness, but it makes me suspicious of the prosecution. Why do they change personalities like that? It's so obvious in some of them. For example, I thought, and the name will escape me now, but the gentleman who I think he was the key grip, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think he was the key grip. He was very articulate, and I'm like, oh, this is a really good witness. He's so articulate and everything. And he was on the stand for a long time, provided a lot of background, a lot of information. And then as soon as the defense lawyer started crossing him, and by the way, the defense lawyer is very gentle, and it wasn't that he brought this out, I don't think, changed personality completely. And I've seen that in several of the witnesses. And the last witness, that lady was just crazy. Not fond of the judge in the Rust trial. She's trying to take control back of her courtroom, but she's gone to the other extreme. I still think there's something really weird about that judge. I don't know what her problem is, but at first I loved the prosecutors, both of them. The male prosecutor is fine. He hasn't done they're both special prosecutors. There's a female and a male. Again, all their names escape me right now, but was really fond of her until the second day. And I'm like, she's trying to run this courtroom. She's on my nerves. She's all theatrics. And I feel like she is so much theatrics that they don't have as much of a case as they would like. I think Hannah will be held responsible. Don't get me wrong on that. But what I do feel is the case against Alec Baldwin is going to be really rough for him after this trial. I don't think that having her go first is going to benefit him in the way you might normally think, because I don't know if you guys are watching that part of it, but it just seems to me like Alec Baldwin is toast after this testimony. And I think the defense lawyer is really good. Both the lawyer and his second chair, they're both really good. Again, I thought all 4 of the main attorneys were great at first. The main special prosecutor, though, I've lost respect for her. So, okay, let me get to your comments. The dolly grip, not the key grip. That's right. Thank you. Okay. I think with the Draconis trial, it just went on and on and on. I didn't feel like they did a great job connecting the dots in terms of how she conspired with him. There wasn't as much there as one would think. But they got there. Rambo. Yes, there are some great police interrogations for Rust too. I've watched all of those. Some great ones. And yes, the judge is a spaz. I know. That's a great word. What in the world? First of all, it's all speaking objections. At least it was. You don't even know what they don't even say object. They weren't even saying object. They were just standing up and arguing with each other. It was just insane. And now it's like they don't get to even say object. They just have to all go to sidebar, and that's annoying. That judge, I don't know, man. Okay, Baldwin, yep, has a big hill to climb. Yeah, it's not looking good for Baldwin. I thought Sarah really did not do well on cross. Sarah, she seemed frightened of the prosecutor, which is not a good look either, because obviously if she doesn't do well and doesn't tell the truth and all those things, her deal can go away, which was, I don't think it will, but she seemed frightened of that prosecutor. She was much better with the defense counsel because he's a gentleman and he's cool. He seems very cool and gentle, and I really like him. Okay, Exotic Prairie. I was afraid it was looking like at first in the Draconis trial, right? The phone thing he answered, and you're saying on the Draconis Maui Swift, the phone that she answered the phone for him. Yeah, that was it. Big thing. And you think there's going to be a hung jury, Exotic Prairie? Do you think there's going to be a hung on Rust? I could see them feel sorry for her. She is awfully young. She does seem to have, I feel bad for Hannah in that, just looking at her, she's so young. She seems like she has maybe ADHD. That is not a great position for her at that as an armorer. If you can't hold your attention. I thought it was funny that last witness was saying, oh, she's so unorganized. She must have said it 30 times. And then she couldn't even hold a thought together. She seemed unorganized in her thoughts. And Rambo says, I only saw the testimony of the memory expert in the Draconis trial. And her statement, I don't recall. Well, I think she was making the point actually with that. I think a lot of people thought that was funny, but I thought she kind of annoyed me, but she did pretty well. Yeah, the rest one you can still get in on. I think there's only a week into it, and it's really interesting. Oh my God, they had a fight in the courtroom. I mean, it was insane. It was very entertaining, but it's a good one. I think you might want to watch it, but you'll definitely get a repeat when they try Alec Baldwin. Tennis Girl said Sarah in the end seemed fake. And at first I thought she was good. Exactly. And it's so several of these witnesses, their mask has melted off when I think the defense attorney is doing a good job. And I'm not sure it's because of him he's just steady at Eddie, but I think they were so prepped for the prosecution. It's really obvious more than any trial I can recall lately. What has happened to Alec Baldwin? He will be tried in August, so in about 6 months. They should have tried him together, but he has better lawyers, I guess. Yeah, Sarah seemed really she definitely fizzled. Elizabeth, if sour milk could be a person, Elizabeth Loftus. Okay, and Tennis Girl says the big thing Baldwin has in his favor is Hall's telling him cold gun before he gave it to him. What was his finger doing on the trigger? Especially for that scene. He was supposed to just be taking it out. He wasn't supposed to take it out and point. Like, what was he even doing? I thought they were just doing the camera, the dolly grip. I'm sorry, I already forgot. He was just supposed to be doing that one movement. And why did he have to do it 16 times? I mean, come on, it's not that hard. Hostile witness. Yeah, very hostile. I thought so too. An Exotic Prairie. Good point. Baldwin pointing things with that gun all over the place. This is not helping him. This trial is really not helping Baldwin at all. He's coming across as being a bully too on the set. Now, Hannah did seem to be young, but she did also seem to stand up for herself, which is reassuring. But I think the defense counsel was saying, oh, she was just young. It's her second movie. As an armorer, she couldn't stand up to the Alec Baldwin. And there was probably some of that, I'm sure, going on. And Helen says, I haven't watched the Rust one. It's a wild and good way to put, yeah, their masks melting off. And I really do watch that. Does a witness completely change their demeanor when they go from prosecution to defense? Because if you're just up there being a witness telling the truth, even if you're a witness for the prosecution primarily, you shouldn't have to be defensive or change your personalities or take an attitude when you're getting cross-examined, particularly with this lawyer, because he's very affable. So I'm seeing through at least 3 of them have really changed. Helen, watch it if you can. Watch it. And especially, I will tell you something sometimes with, here's a true confession just between us and whoever's watching. A lot of trials, especially if I'm annoyed with the prosecution or I don't have a lot of time, I'll just watch the cross. Because honestly, the prosecution's going to win. Most of the time, they're going to get guilty. It's kind of a given. What I find intellectually stimulating and interesting is how they're going to cross, and you learn more sometimes. So I really do. If nothing else, Helen, just watch the cross. And Tennis Girl, I heard Hilario was staging and asked him to do something, but yeah, he should not have. Oh, Helena, sorry. Hilaria is his wife's fake name. Elena was staging and asked him to do something, but he should not have. Oh, it could very well be. It was a cross draw, but the shot was supposed to be just a close-up of when he was just putting his hand on the gun and slightly moving it. It wasn't supposed to be the entire act at that point. From what I got from it. And there were Exotic Prairie, there were 6. The entire photography team walked off the job the day before this event happened, and there had already been 2 misfires of weapons that don't appear to have had anything to do with Hannah, by the way. But they were concerned about safety and probably other things. It was a day before this incident, so they had to have new photographers, so it kind of set them back. They were rushing to stay on schedule because they only had rented the ranch for, I think, 12 days or whatever. The whole camera crew, right? And there were 6 of them. I think they did end up coming back. By the way, that doesn't help the prosecution. They all came back. And most of them were like, no, Hannah was cool. It wasn't Hannah. Like the way that they've tried this in the press, it was like all on Hannah. Everyone hated Hannah going into this. It's like, no, there's more to it than that, as usual. The way the way cases are tried in the press is very frightening, honestly, these days. Frightening. Yes, that's how Bruce Lee's son was it his son or was it Bruce Lee? Anyway, he was shot, I believe, with a blank. It wasn't a bullet. This was evidently a live bullet somehow got put in the gun. It was supposed to be dummy rounds, which are for appearance only, which is what they wanted for that close-up shot, even though you don't even have the thing open. But again, this was a lot of Alec wanting authentic weapons and dummy rounds instead of just leaving the gun cold, which would be there's nothing in it, including dummy rounds or blanks, nothing. So it didn't need to happen. And that was not her call. She was doing what they told her to do. Somehow a live round got put into the barrel. And there's a lot of, I don't know. I'm still not convinced somebody didn't do that somehow on purpose. Okay. David Halls was another one who came off so one way during the prosecution and totally different. And he wasn't even believable during the prosecution questioning at all to me. Yeah, Brandon Lee. That's right. Brandon Lee. Thank you. Thank you, Brandon Lee. So, that was horrifying. I remember. So sad. Yeah, so and that's the and then we'll close up on this on Maui Swift. And by the way, again, it's great to see all of you guys. It's just great to see you and be here. It's fun. I missed it. So Maui says, I think Hannah is the fall guy. And that's basically what the defense led with in their opening statements, that she's the scapegoat. And to a large degree, I think she is. That doesn't mean she doesn't have some responsibility in it. But I think that the production team, the lawyers, everyone involved had hoped that by someone taking the fall, just like Michelle Tricanis in some ways, because the victim's family wants somebody prosecuted, right? They want justice, so they want to see somebody put in prison or punished in however they're going to be sentenced. And in this case, I think Alec had delayed in hopes that maybe Hannah would take the fall and it would take the spotlight off of him. But I think it's really put the spotlight right on him. If you listen to this trial, to me, it's like, wow, if I were Alec Baldwin, I would be really worried right now. I don't know that either of them are going to get sentenced to very long, because it's not murder. It's, it's not reckless homicide. What's it called? You guys, I'm so tired. But anyway, unintentional, negligent manslaughter. So, yeah, I mean, there is some speculation, rightfully so, if you listen to all the details in the trial, and the defense lawyer doesn't mind saying it, that how did this happen? Because Hannah was clearly shocked that a live round was in there, or anything that could have gone off, anything but a dummy round, even a blank can damage somebody at close range if it goes off, right? She was 3 feet from him. So she was clearly under the impression that it was all dummy rounds, that she had checked it, rechecked it, knew what she was doing. Did somebody else put something else in there? Was somebody playing around, maybe not intentionally to harm someone, but to me, if you look at the video and her level of shock, she did not come across as somebody who was like, oh shoot, I did this. Like, she was saying, I'm sorry and all that, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean she knew what she was doing. Of course she's sorry. I'm sorry. I would say that. I say I'm sorry for everything I'm not responsible for. So that part doesn't get to me either, that she says she's sorry, but she definitely looks shocked. She definitely was under the impression that it was all dummy rounds. And so she will be held responsible. I'm no doubt about it. So yes, involuntary manslaughter. All right. And you missed our Packers podcast. You were going to gloat on your, yeah, every week, Thursdays, we do that. Thursday nights. Yes, I'm very happy for you that you got your Super Bowl. That's fun. It seems like 100 years ago now. It's really like not even been a month. Has it not even been a month? But the first couple of weeks I was still in Super Bowl mode. And last Thursday, I actually talked about a neat Super Bowl article that you might be interested in, because it was the first Super Bowl was the Packers and the Chiefs. So I did reference a really cool article and video, Exotic Prairie, that you might really enjoy watching, a YouTube video. So I don't think that was this most recent Thursday. I think it was the Thursday before, but if you want to check that out, you might enjoy that too. So congratulations on that. And all right, guys. Well, I am going to play the outro. I think I put the wrong video on here. I might play both because I want you to see, for those of you who aren't as familiar with Crystal Rogers, I do have a family tree type of graphic, and I think that's also in the community pages, but I can repost that. But check it out. You can hit the pause button if you want to study that, because it's pretty complicated, this conspiracy. So thanks for being here. We'll see you in a week. Nighty night.